I'm starting this new series called Road to Masters. I'm climbing on a fresh account, fully commentating on my games live as it's happening, walking you through every single decision that I make. I go through my entire thought process and show you how the fundamental concepts apply to real games. No scripted examples, no perfect examples, just real games. Let's get into it. Hey guys, out here with episode 2 in Road to Masters. We are in a full platinum lobby, so this is exciting. Yeah, we really want to demonstrate how to play the game really just kind of correctly from the early game to the late game. We'll see which big concept we're gonna pull from this game, but the first thing that we need to consider is that it's Golden Gala. So no prismatic augments, nothing like that, and something specific is that advanced loan might be a bit better. Always scout your Ionia and your Void every single time you play the game, just to know and have the most information possible. These things are a bit hidden, and it looks like our Void and our Ionia are both quite good here. So that's really good for us. I think when we talk about early game holds, you want to hold things and put things on your board that you might need to sell. I got 6 gold already, so I'm not expecting much more. We definitely want to sell Asher. She doesn't go anywhere, and we want to hold things that make sense, right? This makes sense with my board, and I think Viego is just generally good, but you could argue holding Rumble as well, if you're not keen on that. Here, you always make 2 stars. I think people kind of get really complicated here. You always just make 2 stars, and we can do this to like buffer it on my board, just in case we get more gold and want to sell our board. I don't think that'll ever happen, but in fact, yeah, we can just buy this, but it's not a big deal if we do or do not buy it. Yeah, I'm never selling all the things on my bench. I feel like I want to remain open. My opener is looking kind of weak right now in my head. And in fact, I am going to sell these for Blitzcranks, because the big thing that we're lacking on our board is frontline, right? We don't need Viego. We only have Shen, and that's our only frontline. So we'll definitely want to pick up frontline units over holding the Viegos, which go into Shadow Isles, of course, but leaves us a bit restricted. I think here we're looking for a couple things. We're looking for direction. This is arguably direction, and we could think about Earth, but I think there is no interesting spatula here that we can make worth the wait. Maybe not that interesting. Prize fighter. We would have to go and scout the lobby. How strong is the lobby? And the answer is it's looking pretty strong. So 2-trick seems to be like econ plus direction here is kind of how we can think about it. We're picking a bit late. Let's see, we're gonna have that for sure. And I think right now we could just play this. We have a couple options to play around some things. For example, we can make Shojin, we can make Edge of Night, Shojin for our Teemo, or Edge of Night Kiana. I think it's really gonna depend on what shops we have. Not now, but in the future. We also have an Anivia 2 on bench, so all things we want to consider here. I think we should still be trying to think about Void, but it might be a little far off, but Void is definitely still possible here. We just need 1 Kog'Maw, and boom, we're back in Void. So we have a lot of options here. We can click 2-trick kind of late, kind of explaining all this stuff, but we have a lot of possibilities here. I think even the Sona was pick-upable as well, because we do have an Invoker angle with Shojin. I quite like Teemo, and I'm wondering if this is better if I want to slam the Shojin. I think the question is, like, where does Shojin lead to, right? We don't need to think too hard right now, but it probably leads into some AP comp, right? I don't have Cog yet, and yeah. But it's just going to be my strongest board for a really, really long time. So here we're going to slam all our components. And we've kind of headed down this direction. I think we want to keep the AP options open. So here, like, Kiana is never going to use Shojin. Briar's never going to use Shojin, right? And I think these guys will never use Shojin as well. Arguably, Jin is also never going to use Shojin. But we could end up in Ari or something like that. But if we want to make things super simple, we could absolutely just go down Lulu and think about, you know, playing some Arcanist or something like that. So we could, there's a couple things we could do. We could play Ionia if we're like really greedy. The problem is, where does Ionia lead us down to? And we're playing a weaker board. I think what makes a lot of sense here is playing the two-star invokers. Tristana's like really good. We just kind of have more gold and more value out of these units here, I would say. Two stars is better than a Caitlyn who does nothing, and yeah, another unit that does nothing. So let's definitely keep this. I would say Sona is generally stronger than Anivia, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever is 2-starred is like more important. I think people get caught up in like what unit is better. As long as you make reasonable decisions, that's kind of all that matters here. I in fact think we're really out of Ionia. In my head, we're really out of Ionia. So see here, we're just kind of playing around 2-star units and our board and our item direction that makes sense. We're not trying to think too much about a comp, though at some point we will. At some point we were like, okay, once I make Shojin, I'm a bit inflexible, right? I need to play some sort of AP comp or some caster comp, right? I was thinking about playing Teemo into Cog. If that was a possibility, I think that would have been much more desirable, given that there's not a single Cog player, or sorry, not a single Void player in the lobby. I think that would have been really, really desirable. Going into this carousel, we're win streaking, and I think we have a pretty good chance of win streaking. This is really annoying. I just need to mute all. So we really want to find an item that streaks us as much as possible here. So I think Bramble would be really good. Gargoyle would be like strongest board, but I you know, just don't like making gargoyles very long. But let's mute all really quick. Mute all. Mute all. Nice. Great. Here the level is too cheap and we're on streak. What should we play? Are we lacking backline or are we lacking frontline? I think, you know, Mundo is both, I guess, in this case. He's really, really strong, I would say. Do we want to breed the Bramble value or not? I think we need to position for our strongest matchups. I'm looking around. I actually think that guy is our strongest matchup. Less so the Vi player, he's level 4. They're level 4, rather. So, yeah, I think a lot of people would think about making 30 here. And I think... Here's the cog, it's a bit late. I think making 30 is okay. But I think it makes our board significantly weaker. Ari is really strong on my board. Mundo's really strong on my board. We definitely want to make strongest board to streak here. So I think it would definitely be a mistake. It'd be okay if your next in wasn't as good, right? Here, I can make 30, so we should definitely make 30 here. So that's just knowing that we're going to win the matchup, right, is the most important part. I guess something we can think about is this versus this. Do we want 3 backliners, 3 invokers, or do we want 2 bruisers? It's actually interesting. I'm not really sure. Let's see our matchups and see if we need more damage or need more frontline. I will say I'm leaning towards this one just because 3 gold is more than 1 gold if kind of everything is isolated. I already see someone with the Garen. I think I didn't position. I think I should have gone right here every time. But yeah, to kill this Briar first was my thoughts. But yeah, they have 2 items slammed on LeBlanc. They should be pretty strong. They have 4 Noxus in and a bunch of upgraded units. So I would not be surprised if they won. They have a really, really good board in my head. And Bramble, obviously, a lot less effective here. Maybe Stone Plates would have been really, really effective here. So, but the good news is I think we actually have a very good chance of winning because Scion is not a good unit. Definitely more of a scaling unit, more so than anything. Okay, so we complete our streak. We should start definitely thinking about direction. We kind of talked about it with Shojin. We're thinking about AP, right? From this spot, we're definitely thinking about AP from this spot. Lux is interesting. It's interesting insofar as we have Demacia, but we don't have the other Demacia units, I would say. We could play this, but this is significantly weaker. This versus this, kind of no diff, I would think, at this point. And we can probably just throw away the GP and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see where we're headed. I think we could be headed in either of the AP paths between Demacia here, Lux giving us a bit more direction, and sorry. This, let's all this. Lux giving us a bit more direction, but ultimately, I kind of think I have a different way I want to go here. Oh wow, that's a little enticing, if I'm going to be honest. On streak here, we want to decide if leveling is worth it. I'm looking around. I think we can win if we level. I want to double check on this, but I think we can win. I think we can win if we add this or this. I'm not really sure which one is better. I'm going to err on the side of unit quality here. And I'm also going to err on the side of 4 is better than... Sorry, 4 cost is better than 2-star 1 cost. People ask me, how do you make this decision? Sometimes I just am a simple man. 4 is greater than 3. I think there's a lot of like heuristics you can have for sure. Yeah, there's like a lot of heuristics you can have to like be like which one's better. You can obviously just look at the ability and just be like, okay, quick math, this one is a bit better. So this is the matchup we leveled for, and I think this was important that we leveled for this one. So I'm actually thinking we can unlock Volibear. Is kind of my first initial thought here was with the Warmogs drop. I think I was thinking about that. We have a lot of different options here. I think they're all pretty interesting, to be honest. We want to be as strong as possible now, but we can be strong without being the strongest. We can be stronger while still being the strongest and greeting that. So let's take a look at the lobby and what we're afraid of. I think I'm not particularly afraid, so we could just pop Slammin'. I think that'd be reasonable. I think this one makes the least amount of sense. And Pyromaniac speaks out to me as just being the strongest right now in my lobby. I think Slamming would be a lot greedier and make a lot of sense as well. But we don't have anti-heal. Lux is great at it, and we need items, right? We eventually need items. I think I did not position very, very well in this situation, but yeah. I think a problem if we're thinking about going Demacia here is simply where is our Jarvan? Where is our Jarvan at? Because that is a big concern at the end of the day is can we get Galio unlocked? We positioned pretty poorly here, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is a Pyromania diff. This guy took Epic Roll Down, which is obviously very strong later into the game, but isn't strong now. So Pyromania to me was the diff here and keeping our streak. And this gives us 4 gold per round. Every time we win, we get 4 gold per round. So I think people would be incentivized to take Slamming or Econ or things like that. Okay, this is just incredibly high roll. I wonder if this video is... people are just going to be mad at me, are they not? People are just going to be mad. I'd be mad. So we want to activate our traits here. We have Arcanist. We should definitely play Arcanist. We have Bruiser. We should definitely play Bruiser. What's the odd man out? I think Invoker is the odd man out. We still want good frontline here. Good balance of frontline and backline. I'm going to move over to this side. But yeah, I think people are going to be mad because we were looking for a not high roll game, and it looks like this one was incredibly high roll, if I'm being completely honest. And I think we are definitely wanting to head down. Oh, Poppy was stronger board over this so that we could play 2 Jug. Sorry about that. Was yapping too much about my high roll. I mean, surely you have to learn how to convert your high rolls, right, guys? I think the video is still worthwhile. Sometimes you just get dropped a Lux 2 for free. I mean, like, good things happen in your game. This is incredibly good. This is incredibly good, I'm not gonna lie. But you have to be able to convert your high rolls in your games, right? I swear I'm just at gold elo right now. This is... If I was on my main, I would think my spot is good still. But, you know, I don't have any streamer luck. It's nothing like that. I think we're just trying to make sure that we're showing you how to, like, play reasonably. I think speaking about playing reasonably here, like, what item are we really looking for here? We still want to be strong as possible, but I think we can think a little bit more about greeting at this point. I think for me, we want some source of damage, and we don't need to complete our item. I think we absolutely could complete our item here, but I think our direction is pretty clear with Lux 2, but we are never forced to make an item here, just because we are so very, very strong. I think arguably I don't even need to level here as well, but I think I will out of good practice, and the fact that Kiana scares me. And I think we can make 40 here. So you basically play... One thing you could think about is I'm basically paying one gold for shop odds, is kind of what you're thinking. I wonder if this Kiana angle is better or worse. I feel like this going down might not be very good. We're going to sell the Vayne. Vayne comes back or doesn't come back. Doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, so we need to think about like how we can cap out from this spot. Does even playing Demacia make sense here? I think is a pretty valid question. We already have Lux 2 carry. Can't we just play good front line? Do we have to like, we're just rolling for Garen, our rolls become inefficient. We also don't have what's his face, Jarvan to kind of carry us through for the star level. So I think it's fair, like, can we be thinking about a fast 9 AP comp at this point? I think that's a pretty reasonable ask here. Here, Kobuko's going to be really good, and it's Yordle. Is it better than Anivia? Do we need backline or do we need frontline, guys? I definitely think we're looking for frontline here. Anivia 2 is 2 golds, of course, but I think we're looking for frontline because my backline is already very, very strong, right? I would say it's exceptionally strong. I don't know why I'm afraid of this guy. Actually, he's level 5. Shouldn't be very strong at all. And I'm going to do this. Yeah, I think the question is, how do we cap out here? I think something that I'm still thinking about is kind of Volley Rise. We're really, really far from Volibear Rise, I think. I don't know all the flex boards to, like, unlock Rise, for sure. But I think ideally, you know, if we're thinking about our highest cap, how do I get better than Lux 2? Oh, this fight was a little close, or no? How do I get Lux 2, right? Or how do I beat Lux 2 in terms of damage? Like, how can I significantly improve my board? And I think if we think about that, really, we're only going to 5 costs. I think, like, we could think Lissandra and Seraphine, but they're, like, side grades, right? They're all 4 costs. As long as I have the trade active, it's totally fine. So I'm thinking here we just play Bruiser on my next level. We can think about Volibear unlock, I think, for sure. And also think about... we have Yordle unlocked, so we can definitely think a bit. Oh, maybe I should have unlocked Kennen here. We're not even close. We have no defenders. Ionia?
You are definitely not the hero.
We have 2 Reforgers. This is interesting. Let's reforge one of the cloaks. I don't think we'll need both cloaks here. One can make Declaw, and then we need to be able to flex the other one. Void Staff is pretty perfect, I would say, in this spot. Void Staff makes a lot of sense. I don't have Pen yet, and then I can make Declaw. And I think we can make a TG as well if we need to. I don't have a great TG user, is what I will say. But we definitely have a good enough TG user. I'm looking around. We don't need to spike here. TG makes sense since I already have all my carry items sorted out. This one will go on Sona. And I think what we're thinking about now is like, what direction do I want to go? Do I want to go fast 9? Does that mean I want to take econ here? Do I want to roll on 8 and take combat? Do I want to skip combat? These are all a bunch of questions we want to think about going into neutrals. I think one of the things we do not want, one augment type we definitely do not want, is items. We can take econ and try to think about fast 9. We can, instead of econ, we could also think about just taking combat and greeting that way. I will say this is the one that makes the least amount of sense. This is somewhere in between, right? This is combat, but it's kind of the opposite of combat of what we're looking for. This is money, and this is money in a different way. I think I'm very interested in the money that can turn into gold, and it's also power, right? 8 durability is nothing to scoff at. Azir is absolutely one of the perfect champions, and I would say this is also one of the perfect champions we're looking for. So maybe we're just dirty high rollers, and in fact, it is starting to look like we are dirty high rollers. Do we even... Yes, we need this. Okay. I think we definitely want to put items onto our Zillion here. 5, if I thought 4 was better than 3, I think 5 is better than 3 for sure. Let's toss all these units. Kobuko's always being played. Something to be concerned about is I am playing main tank Alawi, so obviously that is not ideal, to say the least, but I think sometimes we can make 50 here. This guy looks pretty strong. Alawi obviously something we can upgrade, but do I want to, you know, roll my board here when I'm really quite strong as is with the Zillion now. Do I need to really... I can't make gold. Sorry. And that's a counting problem. Always count. If you can count, always count. Zillion will also grants us a way to fast 9. So I think we were looking for a lot of possible 5 costs here. I think all of them would be very good. I think Annie would be good on my board. Azir obviously opens up Renekton, which makes my TG really good. In fact, I really need to scout for that to make sure I'm well positioned and going to win these fights. I think I'm as good positioned as one can be. We want to make a line for Lux here, so really optimize that. But sorry, going back to the 5 costs, I think all of them would be good, and Azir has huge upside, Zillion has a huge upside, Shyvana and Senna, just always good units. I have a TG, so I can really use any of the units, and you can't get Ornn out of this, because it only gives non-tanks, which is just Ornn, basically. But yeah. I think unlocking Xerath would be very good here as well. It gives me that AP user I was looking for, so between Renekton and Xerath, I'm not too fussed. So if we get Xerath here, I think that's pretty good. I think if we get Renekton, that's fine. I also think if we get the other guy, Nasus, it's not even bad either. I'm really not fussed with my situation. I really just want to go 9 and play a board as much as possible. I'm not going to ruin my streak here. Sorry, I'm not going to ruin my streak here just to... Sorry, what do I want? I want a rod. I'm not going to ruin my streak here just for a specific unlock here. I have not much to roll for on this level, I would argue. I have a question. I think Taric was maybe interesting here, but I think the most important thing we should be thinking about at this point is... Alright, let's just check our Piltover for... That seems great. The thing that we should be thinking about is I have these utility items on Lux. How can I get stronger? And I want a secondary carry, not a secondary tank, if possible. Like, tanks get outscaled. I think people start trying to build for Swain or start trying to build for Taric. I think you should really start trying to build for a secondary carry as much as possible. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to win any of these fights, looking at these boards. So we might be unlocking the worst Shuriman, which is Nasus in my spot. But I'm okay with Nasus. We are lacking a tank, so I'm actually completely fine with Nasus, personally speaking. And more importantly, like I said, I don't want to roll, and I want to find my cap with other units if possible. It looks like we might win anyways, is kind of interesting. So we unlock the Xerath, which is actually really, really good for my spot. This solves my AP problem for sure. How do we play this? Now this is Invoker. This is Disruptor. I think this might be a little weaker on my current board, but I don't think it's a lot weaker. And getting a Xerath Charm is pretty valuable going into neutrals and just in general. We have a bunch of T-Hex players we need to consider. But yeah. Zillion will help us go 9, so we obviously have a very, very good spot. I think Ryze is now out of the question. I have Xerath, which is the best mage in the game, I think. Ryze is also one of them, but maybe we can unlock Ryze still. We have Shurima, Invoker. Maybe we can think about Piltover as well if we get Defender in. So it's definitely a thing. We have Targon here as well. So it's definitely something we can think about unlocking going into neutrals. We're going to just pre-pump to make my game simpler, but honestly, we never really need the pre-pump. So you guys see that this 2-trick, this Alawi, has carried me for a while. Obviously, Alawi is the weak part of my board, but hey, they did their job as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to pre-sell this. Should I pre-sell the Lux? For simplicity's sake, maybe? I think I want to pre-sell this as well.
Keep faith in yourself. Good to see you again, old friend.
Okay, so I think we're thinking about not about Lux so much. We're definitely thinking about Xerath more so than anything as our itemized carry. We can think about Arcanist, but maybe there's easier ways to fit Arcanist onto my board with like Nico or something like that. This is why Xerath is so good as well. And this is even interval, actually. And it looks like we have enough gold. So we have Warden. Sorry, I'm going to drop you. Actually, I'm going to drop you as well. Annie is also interesting. Sorry, there's too much to hold here. I'm gonna not worry about you nearly as much. I think we should be thinking about backline items, and I think JG plus Gunblade makes complete sense here. Sorry, we never put items on anyone, so that's my bad. We have a lot of possibilities here. I think we're really close to Kobuko and Wukong. I think I might just want to make like a board that to me makes a little more sense than flexing a bit. And I think the Zillion 2 is a Zillion 2 for sure, but I'm not super interested in it, to be totally honest. This is really good. Nico is good. I'm already thinking I want to play these two instead. I know Zillion is one of my carries, but I'm not actually going to value him too much. As I say that, of course, I hit Zillion 2. Sorry, it's a bit complicated to walk through these roll downs. And we're still carrying a Lux, which can't be ideal. So the thing we're lacking on our board is really a front line. I think Zillion is like good, but I kind of think I just need to drop out of that package, is kind of my opinion. It's just taking up too much of my space. And I think Lux here wants to be removed for Senna. Sorry, there's a bit of nuance in these things, obviously. So it's not always like straightforward clear here why I'm doing it, but basically I kind of know these endgame boards don't really want to have a Lux on it. It's hard to fix the Lux. Annie also is pretty good in my specific situation, but I think it makes more sense this way. Yeah. Do we want to pay for this? I think we're going to be pretty strong, and I think preemptively here, I know this is going to be a weaker board, but I think we really just want to dig for these other units, and I think I should be reasonably strong. And hopefully that is the case, that I am reasonably strong. I think once we have the Piltover and we have Blast Shields here, it becomes like more obvious that we need to play Piltover, is kind of my general opinion. But I don't think I was able to fully explain that roll down, but I'll try to do this in post. But basically, these boards generally fit a bit better without Invoker and without Zillion in there, I think, once you have a Xerath. So we hit our 2-star frontliner and our 2-star backliner. I think we can think about a lot of different ins for this, but I think the main one we're thinking about is kind of the board that we landed on here. We have a little bit of everything, and we have Xerath 2, which I think is the most important thing. We have good frontline, Shred, and Anti-Heal over here. Gunblade's not great over here, but we can maybe get a third damage item like Rabadon's here, which would make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think Rabadon's would be the single best thing I can get here. And great, we're able to get it. And now we can move. You want to put your 3 best items on your unit. Gunblade is really good when you need more time to cast and all that good stuff, right? Let's see, Shreem and Damage Amp and Immunity Control. How scared are we? There's a TX2 in my lobby. Reasonably scared, I will say. And we're going to be rolling here just because we have too much to roll for, I would argue. And I think here, I'm going to toss the Annies just to make Econ. And I'm going to try to... eco all the way to 10 here. I'm rolling for things that maybe don't matter as much. Every upgrade matters at the end of the day, but some matter a little bit less than others. I already have a 2-star backliner, you know, Azir 2 versus Seraphine 2. I know people hate this Azir unit, but it's honestly not that bad, and it's totally acceptable. I think we're really thinking about 3 Shuriman in here, if possible. So I think that's why I'm trying to go 9 here. I'm thinking I'm going to win these next fights. And hopefully I can go 10 off this. We don't need a 2-star entire board. We just need to make sure we have the core functioning parts of both. We have items. Our itemized carries are... Do I need to... This is a very good combat, but do I need to actually roll here? No. I think people would think about selling Nico for Econ here, but I think that would be a pretty big mistake. In general, 2 stars are obviously better than 1 star, and if it's on your final board, upgrading it is significant. Obviously, like, I threw away a zillion 2 or something like that, but to me that was not on the final board, so it was not super important. Both these guys are left side, so I lean my take far left. And really the main thing that we need to watch out for is the set and the T-Hex positioning are like the main things that we need to watch out for. But I'm pretty confident I win, so I'm not going to take Crumbling Sands here. If I'm really worried, I think one could lock this, but I think we're just going to wait for another Xerath Charm. We could get some Econ 1, which would obviously help me go to 9, which would be really good. But yeah. I think now we're trying to think about, you know, our win con at this point. What is our win con? What is our lose con? Is there anything that makes us lose? So I think set 2 is something that would make us lose this fight. This fight looked reasonably close. Set 2, their board is looking pretty good, I think. Mess Hall, they have triple combat as far as I'm concerned. Yes, lots of items, but mostly triple combat. I think TX 2 is obviously very scary as well. And they have Ornn 2 kind of capping them out as well. So we're definitely going to need to have a stronger board here going into the late game. So I need to think about how high can I cap. So that's why I want to go to 10. And rolling here is, it's good. It's definitely good. It's definitely a possibility. But I think if I can go to 10, it might give me a little bit of that extra punch I need to win the game. This is one of the most OP augments in the game. I think taking a life off this person is really valuable here. I'm going to take it. It's just too good not to take at the end of the day, I think. And let's see what we can get here. Rage Blade for my Azir 2 sounds pretty good. And we will put all the other things on here and make sure that we red buff you. So I have an Azir 2. I'm going to play around my Azir 2. One could argue, you know, you really want to play around Senna 2 for your cap or whatever. And I think that's totally fair. I just think, you know, I think Azir 2 is completely fine. No, he's not a 2-star 5 cost in power, but I think he's like a 2-star 4 cost in power. And I think that's pretty good. And I'm especially trying to go into 4 Shuriman. Sorry, not 4 Shuriman. 3 Shuriman. So they should be all getting buffed up is kind of my last thing here. This is really delaying me. I don't know if this actually makes a big difference. Obviously, it's higher cap. It is higher cap, but I don't know how many rounds we have left in the game. Yeah, I don't know how many rounds we have left in the game. So it's something we can definitely think about. It's not that bad. And I don't have to go for Shuriman. So I think let's just buy it. Senna item, what is it? IEDB here. IDB. This means that we can now roll on 8 if we want to. And I think we can drop Taric potentially, but I'm really scared about dropping Taric. We have a lot to roll for on this level between Renekton and Shyvana 2. And Senna 2, obviously. I think this guy doesn't matter that much, but yeah, I think we really want to go to 9 and buff up my Shurimans as much as possible. I'm starting to think, I told you guys every 2-star matters here, but I'm starting to think I might want to sell some of these. After 22 seconds, gain. This is interesting. So we have too many carries, right? Not enough frontline. Taric is holding down the fort as best they can. But it might not be enough. Here, I really think we want to find our way to 9. I think buying the 15 gold was not worth it at the end of the day. We got our side switched on. I'm not super happy about it, but it's probably fine. I'm obviously just trying to explain here, so I'm not super locked in onto the positioning, but I do see it at the end. But yeah, we really just want to level for Shuriman as much as possible. But 2-star everything could be really good, so I'm thinking about rolling on 8. I think it's definitely a possibility to roll on 8. But this person is really strong at the end of the day. We have a few more lives to cap out. I think 2 more lives, maybe 3 more lives to cap out. But yeah, it's not super clear. We're looking for either an item here or an item here. I think for max cap purposes, Stridebreaker would be best. Now I'm thinking it's JG for my JG, and then move over the Void Staff or the Gunblade over here. You lose, gain 5 player health. This basically is econ. I'm going to upgrade my full board here. And I think I might sell the Vi. Yeah, I think I might sell the Vi. So let's put JG on here. That's a must. Rageblade is not a must here. But I think this makes sense to me. All good item combinations here. Oops, I think I might have wisp positioning this. I'm sorry. So we can roll on level 8 for Senna 2, Shyvana 2. I think it's pretty reasonable. I think I'm just going to try to go 10 here. I'll have 2 lives here, minimally, to play with, which I think is pretty good. I need to kill this so that my Xerath did get walked up on. That's not good. And now my Azir got walked up on. That's also not good. Vi 1, Vi 2, no big diff. I think Nico is more of a diff. I think this fight is very, very winnable. Either with 1 combat, so I gain 5 HP there, or some econ to go 9. So yeah, we can think about our max cap because our spot was obviously so good, and Xerath gives us so many charms and stuff like that. So it's all good in that regard. I think the problem is right now is the positioning with the set. Like how do we do it and what's best here? Really, you want to put your like far side carry away from the set since they always reset in this corner. And it looks like they're going to keep default positioning in general. So this Renekton with TG is kind of where I'm thinking my cap is. Obviously, Shyvana would be great as well, but I think Renekton with 3 Shuriman might be stronger. Also, if I just play more rounds, my, what's it called, will have a lot of opportunities to find a good charm. My Xerath will have a lot of good opportunities to find a good charm. It does not look like we need to cap, and this looks like it was a relatively easy third from a Lux 2 on level 6 high roll position. So I think the biggest thing this game is that we allowed ourselves to high roll. That's the big takeaway from this game, is that we allowed ourselves to high roll, starting from the 2-1 augment. I think people here might take calculated loss. I think that would be a big thing. And once you do that, you just don't allow yourself to play the game. We're not a weak board. We're not a strong board by any means, but 2-Trick gives us the option of being a strong board. We're close to a lot of things here. And while it's not coherent, I think 2-Trick also offers us econ. When our board is weak, we can get econ as well. This is econ in the traditional sense, I think, getting 4 gold a turn, 2 gold from this, and 2 gold from that, 2 gold from a free reroll. But 2-Trick is 12 gold. It is 6 gold in a 2-star 2 cost, and 6 more gold in 2-star 1 cost. So that's 12 gold right there for us, and it's combat power. So it gives us a little bit of something on that side, and it gives us direction. So we get the Teemo, and it allows us to choose an AP direction. It gives us an Anivia. It gives us an Alawi that we carry all the way to stage 5. All these things allow us to high roll, right? Maybe it's high roll that we get a Teemo, but if we got a Cho'Gath, we'd also be in a good situation, I think, here. So we just allow ourselves to high roll rather than tossing our hands up in the air, loose streaking, and just like playing for BIS with calc loss, right? I think that would be the biggest problem here. I think going into this, you know, obviously I high roll with the Luxes, but I think the big thing that we have to think about is after the Luxes, it's like from 3-5 onward, I'm thinking about how can I convert this, right? I think obviously the Luxes is super high roll, but how do we convert this? We chose Pyromania to be as strong as possible during the stage, and I think that helped us streak here. But also we're thinking about things like, okay, what is better than Lux here? And the answer is only the 5 cost, right? I think that drove a lot of our direction here. Obviously, Alawi can be upgraded, but we see this board, and we need a lot of different upgrades here for us to be in Demacia. We suddenly need to pop out a Jarvan 2, a Xin Zhao 2, a Garen 2 for this to be better. And if we're just rolling for that and we already have the Lux, almost to me, there's no point. So I start thinking about a higher cap, right? I'm in such a good spot. How do I elevate my spot even better, right? Is the question we should be asking. How can I do better in this situation? And I think here we clearly see that, you know, nothing is better than Lux 2 other than the 5 cost list, and Lissandra and Seraphine are side grades at best, right? That's not a big deal. What we're looking for is kind of big upgrades, and so that's why we land on Annie, Xerath, Zillion. We were even thinking about Volibear Rise here. These all were great possible options, and I think that's what leads us to picking something like Gilded Steel on 4-2, is it gives us that possibility, right? In this case, we got two really good unlocks with Azir and Zillion. These were two really great unlocks, but at the same time, I still was gonna be pretty happy with Shyvana and Senna. And this gives me a chance to high roll, right? I still want the 10 gold and I get 8 durability. Those are all really good, but it gives me a chance to have huge upside. And I do get huge upside with Zillion and Azir unlocking Xerath. That solves my AP user problem. I had Zillion, that solves it, and then Xerath solves it again. And then we just cap out really, really high from there, right? We just have an insane board from there. But the big thing is that I was always thinking about how to high roll from here, right? How to use my momentum to high roll. From starting from 2-1, I use 2-trick and see that as my gold augment, as my econ augment, but it's gold that's feeding me more gold in terms of board strength, right? So really thinking about that was the biggest thing that allowed me to high roll, was all the way back to 2-1, and then converting it, just thinking about it on 3-5 prepared us for the 4-2 augment. And obviously we just piloted it from there, and it was a really easy like top 2 at the very least from there, but you kind of see where the direction goes as well. So I just kind of want to show you guys this is how you abuse your high rolls, and when you have a good spot, you really need to convert it. Just like when you have a bad spot, you need to make sure you make it as less bad as possible, and a good spot, you need to make sure it's as good as possible. Yeah. So thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the format, and I hope you all have a great day.